You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from West St. Paul Studios, it's time for MinneZona Sports Live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, episode 281. Yes, sirree, Bob. We are ready to go. A lot of Minnesota sports happening this weekend, this whole week in general, to be quite honest with you. But without further ado, I am your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. DJ Matty C, etc., and all the way. Oh, there we go. The lower third wasn't going in. I don't know what was going on there. That was driving me nuts. Anyway. Without further ado, all the way in Granite City Studios in St. Cloud, Minnesota, Paul Vold. Shield, what's going on there, Shield?
Dude, there's so much going on here this week, of course, like we talked about with Minnesota sports, but also with the show. And of course, we were supposed to have a special guest join us here this week as part of course, our draft coverage and everything. But I did find a very suitable substitution, a special surprise here for everybody. And I believe they are just off camera right here, ready to join us. Are you ready? Okay. You're good? Okay. Hang on one second. Hang on.
Oh, hey, whoa.
Just one special little surprise
right here. Look at that.
Back into safe hands once again. The NA3HL Frazier Cup for the 5th time in franchise history for the Granite City Lumberjacks is back in safe hands. Believe it or not, this is the first time I'm holding this thing since the Lumberjacks actually won it. So I am soaking it all in. That's great to have back in safe hands. So I don't know if we're going to be holding it the whole night during the show, but we're going to hang out here for a little bit with this guy. So we're going to have ourselves one heck of a time here. And you're looking at yourself, national champion. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. But of course, we got a lot to get to tonight, so we might as well get rolling in with this thing here.
Hey, we might as well. It looks fantastic. And adding on another year of dominance for those Granite City Lumberjacks. So one more round of applause. Since the Frazier Cup will be joining us, and yes, we do have a photo with that same cup in the Granite City Lumberjacks headquarters, so can't wait to see it again. I cannot wait. So, anywho, in person, that being, obviously. But the big news, ladies and gentlemen, the NFL draft is tomorrow. Yes, we are looking forward to the NFL draft. Our Minnesota Vikings, what are they going to do? Are they going to trade back, go forward in the draft? I don't know. There's a lot to unpack. Will Jonathan Grenard be traded? I don't know. That's the big thing that we'll talk about here tonight. Our Minnesota Vikings, obviously, are the main topic for tonight. This is the 2026 MinneZona Draft Special. Yes, we are looking forward to that. And without further ado, too, I mean, I should do a little bit of a reveal myself. I mean, not as good as the trophy, but let's show you what we got. Let's see.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that. Yes, our draft overview. And don't fret now, because we have another thing for you too, because if you're watching either on laptop or whatever, but if you're watching our shorts feed or whatever, I got one for you too, right under there. That's right. Let's go. So we are feeling really good tonight talking the NFL draft, Minnesota Vikings. I just got to get used to switching all of these and whatnot. So that's what we got tonight. We're talking a lot of draft, and you guys can chime in. Not only chime in, but if you want to win some MinneZona hats, Vikings colors, well, we got the opportunity for you. Yes, Voldy's got them sitting right there. We've got Minnesota Vikings colors, MinneZona hats. Check them out. They could be yours. All you got to do is go to our socials pages and make your pick, basically. Give us your name, not the pick of the person that you think's gonna go.
Yeah, that's on me. I'll be the first one to admit I messed that up. Just sent out the post on the socials clarifying. We just want the position you think the Vikings are going to take, not the name and position. Name is your name. Name.
Because in the past we did that, but at the same time, it's tough to know exactly, unless you're the number one pick and you're the Raiders and you're going to take Fernando Mendoza. That's too easy. And, that is perfectly placed. Yes. See, the Frazier Cup knows what we're talking about here. So, yeah, you guys could win either one of those. You could pick the first one that we did, which is the one that is right there. Or you can use the secondary one, which is, by the way, pretty badass, to say the least. Check that out right there. So go to our social page, go to the form, fill it out, and you could win Minnesota Vikings colors MinneZona hat. Yes. So make sure you get that done. And then, guys, not only tonight we're talking draft, but we are talking about both Minnesota teams. They are in 1-1 series in a tie. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets series tied 1-1. Oh, by the way, the Minnesota Wild, Dallas Stars tied 1-1. There is a big game after the show with the Wild and the Stars. We will discuss that tonight. And not only that, but the Timberwolves and Nuggets as well. They play tomorrow. Some things have been said by our guy, Jaden McDaniels. We'll see how that all turns out. We will discuss that later as well. So technically the draft specials are a special segment, but we're starting with draft first. So we got a lot with that. And then ARA, we have a plethora, I wouldn't say plethora. We have a couple ARAs tonight, since we will have a lot to discuss. The first one that we're talking about, the big news in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, is the Bengals. They are going. They got Dexter Lawrence. They win the Dexter Lawrence sweepstakes. They give up a lot. They give up a number one draft pick. A lot to be said with that one, to say the least. Wow. So keep your eye out on that. And then, not only that, but Mike Tomlin, he is going to be joining NBC this season, so I think he's probably taking the year off, and then he'll probably be with the team after the season. So it's probably going to happen. I'm preparing myself for it because it's probably going to happen at some point. But Alexander Ovechkin, will he go another season, ladies and gentlemen, or will he go 2 seasons? Do we know? Do we have any indication? I don't know. But Ovi could be going 1, 2, maybe even 3. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know if he would go 3. We'll see. So anyway, enough of me talking. Let's get into our NFL draft special. I really don't have anything in between. I could do hot take, but we're not technically doing hot take right now. So let's just get into it. The NFL draft. Our Minnesota Vikings are picking 18th, Voldy. We are picking 18th. There's been some talk of the Vikings possibly trading back, accumulating more picks. There has been talk of them just pretty much staying put, which I think they should. in this perspective. And I know that we're trying to avoid everything that has happened, in this offseason with free agent signings and or Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and all that stuff. But we're moving past that. We're just kind of going from what Rod Brzezinski and the coaching staff have compiled and the scouts and whatnot. I mean, the whole organization in general. So we're sitting at 18. The Vikings have a total of nine overall picks. And no, I'm not talking about J.J. McCarthy, but he looks good. I'm telling you, he does look good. We might have to discuss that at some point. But we're focusing more on draft. So, Voldy, my question to you and the Zoners on our socials here is, what are we thinking from just overall thoughts on this draft? We all know this is a very, every draft is important, but this one especially is because the past few drafts haven't been strong under the tutelage of Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. So, Voldy, what are your overall thoughts here on this Vikings draft here in 2026? What do you got?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a very interesting one based off, of course, the whole situation with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah being let go from his position and still with the interim tag as Rob Brzezinski, even though he's been with the team for a long, long time in a bunch of different capacities, but now him as the interim general manager, I knew, right off the bat, immediately, I was a little bit hesitant and a little bit concerned about a guy that was coming from kind of like the logistical part of the front office, maybe not so much player personnel, but apparently he's been doing a lot of things and in a lot of different capacities for the franchise, basically this whole century, if not throughout a good portion of the last 20 plus years, or at least he's been a name that's been a part of the organization for quite some time. Now, you look at the draft, too, and some of the big concerns as well. I know we're going to talk about it with some of our players to consider with the first round. Having a bevy of picks, especially given that, we're in a draft where it's going to be, kind of a prove yourself kind of draft here for the Vikings, too. It's important to look at that we have the quantity, but also having the quality on top of it. So you're definitely going to have to hit on a majority of these picks, whether you stick and pick with what you've got or you make some room or you make some moves for this draft and for drafts to come too.
Like what you said, it shows that this is coming down to the final decision obviously would be Rob Brzezinski in this case, but I think he is very much leaning on the coaching staff and knowing, hey, what do we want? What would be the best thing for this organization to have this player or that player, whoever it is. Like I said, this is a big draft. And I think the Wilfs, with the decision that they made with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, they decided that they were going to take the coach's side of it as opposed to Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's team. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole, Kwesi's team versus the coaching staff and this and that, and some guys not respecting one another and whatnot. But the Wilfs probably looked at this situation and they said, who do we want to believe? Do we want to believe our coaching staff or do we want to believe Kwesi? And they took the coaching staff, which I think is probably the smartest move because they know what's best for what they want to do. I think the person that didn't get along with Kwesi would probably be Brian Flores. But I would say a lot of that, too. Kwesi did get a lot of his guys. He went and got Van Ginkel. He went and got, Stephon Gilmore. This isn't a situation where there was a lot going on. So anyway, this coaching staff, this is hinging on their jobs right now. They have to hit on a lot of these picks, and it starts in round one. You have to hit on this pick. Now, there's been some talk of them trading up to going to get Jeremiah Love. I think that'd be a little too much because I think teams will jump in front of you to get love, because now the running back position has been elevated in these years. I mean, it's crazy how much of running backs they're kind of like an afterthought. Now they're not. They're resurging. So everyone knows you need to have a good running game. So I don't see them trading up. I don't necessarily see them trying to make big moves in order to do so. But one thing that could happen, and we have to think about it from this perspective, is Jonathan Grenard. Are they going to trade Jonathan Grenard for picks? And it sounds like the Eagles have been pursuing Jonathan Grenard for the past few months, and the Vikings keep saying, Voldy, that Jonathan Grenard is going to be a Minnesota Viking. Now, I've heard that said before. Trust me. I got absurd statement for thinking that Stephon Diggs was going to be a Minnesota Viking that season.
Yeah.
No, it was not. So I'm not going to – it remains to be seen, because a lot can happen in this draft. Guys can be traded without warning pretty much. If you're watching the draft tomorrow, you're not going to see what's coming. And unless you're on Twitter, unless you're on X, because that's where it kind of breaks. But I would say that keep your eyes on your socials medias. Keep an eye, obviously, on wherever you're watching NFL Network or ESPN. So this is gonna be fun though. I really am looking forward to this. And we're gonna discuss a couple things here. We have 3 players that we have selected that we think that could be perfect for the Vikings in the first round. Now, this is selections based on they stay at 18. They stay at 18 and no trade backs or anything like that, which they could. I don't know if they will, but we're just going to pretend that they stay at 18. Here are the players that we think might be available. So, to start out, I'll go, and then we'll have Voldy go, and then after that, we're going to do day 2 and day 3, so I'll have Voldy start, and then I'll follow up. So we'll just kind of switch off. The first guy that I have, and this is the most obvious one, that is the safety from Oregon, our guy, Dylan Thieneman, excuse me. And
Done. End of draft analysis. Let's move on.
Now we move on. Because
that's what everybody is saying. Literally, it's cut and dry. We stay at 18. We're getting Dylan Thieneman. Like nobody else. Every mock draft, it's come down to Dylan Thieneman there at number 18 for the Vikings. Like, what else are we talking about?
Right. And it hinges down to a couple things. Before I get into kind of what people like about it and whatnot, I won't go fully into it, but I'll give you some of the highlights. Our guy, Dirty Harry, is he coming back? Is he not coming back? Will this affect his decision to come back or not? I think even if they draft our guy, Thieneman, I think that there's still a slight chance he might come back, and there's probably a even better chance that Harrison Smith doesn't come back, because it's like, there's my heir apparent, you go do your thing, man. Unless Harry's like, I'll come back, I'll help this guy. It's just so, we're in the same boat here, and we know what we need to do. Now, I think a lot of the experts, there's a lot of experts that are doing this. I think Mel Kiper did have Thieneman here. I believe someone else, Peter Schrager, guys like that. I'm probably messing up on a couple, but it's something to keep in mind, zoners, as well. So, a couple of things. Everyone says he's a stud, and I believe it. It's not like I don't. He actually was with Purdue, which I didn't. I had no clue that he was a Boilermaker for a little bit, but he eventually went to Oregon, and he had a great 2025 season. First team All Big Ten. 95 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss with 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and 5 pass breakups. Now that you probably look at that and you're like, well, the TFLs isn't as much. Harry's in the backfield too, but again, he's a safety. It depends on what kind of packages they have him coming from a blitz and or coming up in the box. So this is probably the pick that I would be shocked if he was still on the board and the Vikings didn't take him and they took somebody else. I like the way that he can play multiple positions, and I think a lot of that, is very similar to little Josh Metellus. But I would also put into play that there's a lot of Harrison Smith in him too. His size and athleticism, that's what Harry had back when he was with Notre Dame. He has a high coverage IQ, which Harrison Smith does have as well. So there's a lot of good, positive things coming from Thieneman. And I think he's going to be a stud wherever he goes. If it's not the Vikings, then it might be somewhere else. So there's a couple weaknesses I'll go over here. It's not too bad. He needs better hand usage to stack and play off blocks. That can be worked on. Step slow to adjust his pursuit angles to the perimeter. I don't think that's too big of an issue. These are all coachable weaknesses. So, Thieneman, I would say this is pretty much the slam dunk. That's all we need to really say. And the national media is probably just like, oh, that's who they're going to take. That's what's going to happen. And the Vikings could go a completely different way. So, Thieneman's probably my guy. Would probably be everybody's at this point. So let's just say the Vikings don't decide to take Thieneman. Well, there's another guy that I want you to keep in mind here, Zoners and Voldy. And that guy is a tight end named Kenyon Sadiq. And let me tell you, this dude's a baller, man. This guy, another Oregon Duck, to say the least, he probably will need a little bit more time to develop, but you never know. Because if the Minnesota Vikings are going into the season and Kyler Murray is the starter for the Minnesota Vikings, what does Kyler Murray like a lot? His tight ends. Not saying our guy TJ Hawkinson, by the way, wearing TJ Hawkinson jersey tonight, throwback, shout out. But I think adding another layer to this offense will help the Vikings. You could get this guy to really be a monster in the vertical game, as well as him being, a blocking tight end too. He can block. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts he can do it. Because nowadays, if you can make all these plays and if you can block as well, that's going to help you in the long run. And I think that's what you have with Kenyon Sadiq. He's a big dude. I mean, they say he's built like a bodyguard with compact, well-defined frame. That is what you want out of your tight ends. He gets in and out of breaks with good snap and separation. And I think sometimes the big thing is our tight ends don't get that separation as much. He can do that, which I think is going to help him, obviously, in the long run. The only thing that some of the things that are weaknesses is inconsistent catch focus on throws above his numbers. I think, I could say everything's coachable with this, but that is, I would say, average acceleration and pop into contact as a lead blocker. I think you can make an argument that he can work on those things. But I think this is kind of what they would need. You add another tight end. I thought Hawkinson was going to be gone, but they figured out a way to bring him back. And I think if you give him a little bit of competition to kind of better his game, too, because Hawk's been kind of since the injury against the Lions 2 years ago. And I think adding him to that mix will help. So Kenyon Sadiq, I think, would be a good pick at 18. I don't know if he'll be there at 18, but a lot of mock drafts have him going past the Vikings if they take Thieneman. So just keep an eye on Kenyon Sadiq. I think this would this wouldn't shock me, but I really like it because if we're using more tight ends, I'm all for it. Then our next one, I'm looking more to the defensive side, Voldy. I'm looking to more at our defensive tackles. Now, the Vikings got rid of Javon Hargrave. They got rid of Jonathan Allen. And they just didn't fit the scheme. And obviously, Hargrave had some things to say about the scheme of Brian Flores. Well, I think the Vikings can fix a lot of things by going after a guy from Ohio State, that being Caden McDonald. Now, Caden McDonald played pretty much with the Buckeyes, and he was a reserve when they were national champions and whatnot. But this 2025 season, first team All Association or first team AP All American. Big Ten Conference Defensive Lineman of the Year. First team All Big Ten. Finalist for the Outland Trophy. Nation's top interior lineman. Started all 14 games. That's a big one, too, because we got to have guys healthy. I think this can solve a lot of problems in the middle. The Vikings were 22nd against the run last year, and they got leaky sometimes. We did see that a lot, especially against Bijan Robinson. Well, I think this could help the Vikings a lot in the middle. Not saying that Jalen Redmond can't do anything, or Levi Drake Rodriguez, but adding another guy like that in that backfield, this dude's quick, and he's a great interior run defender, very similar to a guy that we all know well, that being Linval Joseph. Linval Joseph, to say the least. That's our guy right there. But weaknesses, he's more of, he doesn't gain enough width on his lateral side steps to threaten edges as a rusher. Now, I think you would only use him for first and second down. But if he can rush the passer, that'd be great. Maybe he can develop. We'll see. But I think this solves your problem, helping you out in the middle. And I think he would be a great addition to this defensive line. So, Caden McDonald, keep your eye on him. If the Vikings would trade back, I would keep my eye on him. I don't know if I don't even know if they would take him at 18. But what I will say is that if Jonathan Grenard is traded and they, move back or whatever, then I think, he might be in play here. And I think he has that first round talent that you're looking for. So those are my three. Let us know what you guys think of my three. If you like it, you hate it. I feel like the first two are kind of likely, but Voldy's got a couple likely ones too. So Voldy, I will send it over to you for your three.
Yeah, of course, starting off with, we really all came down to the fact that it most likely will be Dylan Thieneman that be obviously the number one choice here if he is there. But this draft very much a situation like we talked about to start off the show. It comes down to best available player, I feel like. And there has been a little bit of movement and some guys that are maybe made their way up the draft board. Some maybe pushed a little bit back as well. But a couple of names that I've seen here in some mock drafts that have certainly stood out could very well be impact players for the Vikings, I should say. And one of them is Colton Hood from Tennessee, a cornerback coming off a pretty decent season for him, just based off of what he has gone through his collegiate career as well. Started at Auburn, ended up redshirting. That didn't work out. Goes to, cornerback heaven in Colorado, learns under the Dion tree there, and ended up transferring back to the SEC in Tennessee, where he started 12 games, 4.5 tackles for loss, interception, return for a touchdown with some pass breakups in the mix there. Really showed out in the combine, finished out as the second best overall graded cornerback out of the draft as well. 4.4 speed, 40.5-inch vertical, 10-foot 5-inch broad jump as well. Those are some of the big numbers there to ultimately you see some things too, but you definitely like to see a guy that likes to use his length, but definitely a definite piece that could be very well benefited under a Brian Flores system that definitely sees a little bit more zone, try to get into, and obviously try to win some battles with some jump balls too. That's definitely a strength that Colton Hood does bring, but definitely is going to be a little bit interesting to see with some of his weaknesses that could struggle matching with some of the releases that NFL receivers really pride themselves on, developing instincts from off coverages. On top of that, there's some other things that need to be addressed, but still a very comparable piece, a very comparable player that have thrown out Carlton Davis the third to Colton Hood, too. Of course, Davis playing for the Patriots last season after getting a nice contract for him and ultimately making it all the way to the Super Bowl under Patriots this past season. But another guy that ultimately, of course, with Colton Hood, he really benefited this season. Unfortunately, for the likes of Jermod McCoy, another cornerback out of Tennessee, but unfortunately for him, he missed all of 2025 after suffering a torn ACL back in January. So we're about a year and some change. So about 15 months off of course, that torn ACL, but did come back to practice back in August, but did not appear in a game throughout the season for him. So really missing out after being an AP All-American in 2024, a second team All-SEC, after transferring from Oregon State, where he did put up 31 tackles, 7 pass blocks. So definitely a guy who has a nose for the ball and wants to get it out of his hands too. Definitely uses his size coming out too, of course, with being another corner listed at, just 6 foot and 3/4 of an inch as well, with some of those numbers thrown out there, but still a guy that could definitely be very good with a very good movement out of him, posting, of course, with those 6 interceptions from the last 2 seasons before he got injured as well. Could have really benefited from a third season collegiately. He very well could have been a corner that is at near the top of the, of course, some of the, the draft boards as well. In fact, it was graded out as the third best corner out of the combine on top of that, but still working on his ways to be a guy that can definitely work his way through zone coverages and be able to battle through that. So maybe a little bit of a project there for him, but of course with the Vikings and their cornerback situation, of course Isaiah Rodgers coming into his final year on his contract, looking to get a big bag on top of it. Byron Murphy as well as another guy that's looking quite possibly heading into free agency after this season. So the Vikings definitely need to take some serious consideration of maybe drafting a corner here, if not with their first pick, or at least going with, of course, some help in the defensive backfield. But then we talk about here, of course, when the opportunity does strike, say Dylan Thieneman's out, Kenyon Sadiq is still on the board, Colton Hood and quite possibly Jermod McCoy are off the board as well, or maybe just not quite tickling their fancy enough. Why not go after a guy that is literally right in your own backyard, the pride out of Des Moines, Iowa, and guy who took the world by storm with his 6'6", 5/8 of an inch, 352-pound play out of the backfield, Caden Proctor, the tackle out of the University of Alabama. Of course, he did get a little bit of shine there with carrying the ball, not to much avail, just, 5 carries for 16 yards, but still found a way to transfer from Iowa, going all the way to Alabama on top of it. First team All-SEC, co-winner of the Jacobs Blocking Trophy as the SEC's top offensive lineman, a finalist for the Lombardi Trophy as the top lineman in the NFL. Of course, did get limited in spring as well this past season, coming off of shoulder surgery, but still a great analysis out of him too. And still very much a situation, like I said, if he's their best available player, go out and get a guy, because what we've seen, Christian Darrisaw still coming back, of course, with that, that knee surgery that he had at the tail end of not this past season, but the season before, still working his way back to full health here after, of course, battling in and out of the lineup through this past regular season. Brian O'Neill, another guy, too, on the other side that could use a little bit of help in the depth department too, because at the end of the day, it's one thing we always talk about here. It's O-line, 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 and might as well take a serious look at a guy here that could be very impactful for this Vikings in the depth department, because you can never have enough linemen, and we've seen it over the years. The more linemen, the better, and might as well have a very capable piece, at least on a rookie level here, a nice draft piece that could be very beneficial in the years to come here if Caden Proctor is there available at 18, or if the Vikings do decide to switch with another team that wants to go back to, 22, 25, somewhere in that range. Caden Proctor could very well be there at that range.
Yep, that's the perfect way to explain it with the O-line stuff. I mean, you can never have enough O-linemen, especially for the Vikings. Good Lord. But Voldy, I like your selections. I think corner is definitely something that the Vikings in the past have really kind of been drawn towards. Some have worked out, some haven't. Mike Hughes, for instance. But a good example is Xavier Rhodes, who played really well until he got paid, and then it just didn't go well after that. Yep. But that remains to be that's all in the past. But I think Hood and McCoy would be a good fit for the Flores defense for sure. Proctor, hey, why the heck not? Why the heck not? I mean, I love Brian O'Neill, I love Christian Darrisaw, but if the Vikings know medically that they're not as durable as they are, and then maybe they do something. I don't know. I don't want it to happen because I like both of those guys. Right. I love them. I think they're fantastic. So, but we will keep an eye on things there. Since our guy, our Minnesota Vikings expert, Mikey Ryan, is not here, he did send us a couple of guys that we should take a look at. And I will quickly go over them since I want to get to our day 2, day 3 picks and keep things rolling here for our draft special. But Mikey has the Vikings taking Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. Now, his name's been popping up recently in the Minnesota Vikings. He was on a top 30 visit with the Minnesota Vikings. He's a powerful, explosive athlete, lateral quickness, frequently defeats an attempted reach blocks, ties hands with feet to slide across the blocker's face into gaps. That's a very good thing as well. A couple weaknesses to keep in mind. The one that stands out to me, short arms prevent him from keeping blockers out of his frame. You need to have, longer arms in order to get blocks off of you, and especially with those big, offensive linemen. Now, if he can use a lot of his strength, then you can get away with that. But if the offensive lineman gets you in very good position and you can't move and you can't reach, that's a problem. So I think that's the one that really stands out to me. But you never know. I mean, they compare him right now to Christian Wilkins, who has had a very good NFL career, dealing with a lot of injuries right now, but the talent's there. So another one that Mikey brought up, this one, all the pieces would have to fall into place in order, or they would have to trade up, and that's Caleb Downs. He's probably the first safety that would be taken in this NFL draft. He's an Ohio State guy. I think 18 is probably not where they probably won't get him at 18. They would probably have to move up a little bit in order to get Caleb Downs, because the Giants, I've been hearing, they really like Downs as well. So there's a lot to be considered there. A lot of his talent is definitely there. I mean, he is a round 1 draft projection. He likes to disrupt things at the line of scrimmage, very similar to our guy Harrison Smith, so I'll keep that in mind. Mirrors slashing runners with twitchy change of direction and body control, very good as well. The thing is he might be a little too wild, that being like he might miss blocks if he gets too, if guys get past him and things like that. Downhill appetite can get him trapped in the trash, which is pretty much you get in a big with all the linemen and whatnot, and you get stuck down there. So a couple things to keep in mind with that. But if the Vikings want to go with him and they like him enough, I wouldn't be mad about it for sure. The last one that Mikey has, and this depends on if the Vikings were to trade Jonathan Grenard, he says TJ Parker, edge rusher, if they move on from Grenard. And that's kind of like an insurance if Dallas Turner does not, live up to what we were hoping he would. But I think he showed something last year, and we got to keep that in mind too. So that's what Mikey has for us. Yeah, unfortunately, he is off on a trip, but he will be keeping in tune with everything NFL draft. I know.
Come on, Mikey, it's draft season.
I tried, man.
Here?
I tried to get him, but the good news is that he was kind enough to give us what he thought, so we're good on that. Let's move on to our day 2, day 3 players that we're thinking of, and there are a couple Minnesota connections with some of these picks as well. So, Voldy, I'll let you start us off here with your day 2 and day 3 picks that the Vikings could consider. What do you got?
Yeah, taking into consideration, of course, positional need here and a few guys that are definitely worth consideration. One guy here out of the Pac-12 who, last of a dying breed, played all 5 of his years, actually make that all 6 of his years in college football in one place. That's Traden Stukes, if you will, out of the University of Arizona, a safety position as well. Definitely a guy worth looking at. If you just want to add some depth, of course, and maybe a couple of young pieces, if the earlier picks don't hit at the safety position, definitely something worth looking at as being a guy that was a very vocal leader and definitely was a centerpiece of that Arizona defense, just being a guy that can certainly take the lead for sure, and especially being a nice guy that could nice enough guy to add from the depth position. Another one to look at too, of course, you can never have enough help on the D line, especially depth as well, is another guy in Rene Conga. Now this guy is going to be a little bit of a project, late round kind of a guy here, 6-7 round kind of guy here, definitely day 2, day 3 for sure, definitely day 3 I would certainly say. A guy that does have some unusually fast and explosive athletic ability out of him, but just the numbers didn't really translate after spending 4 years at Rutgers, but didn't really get a lot of playing time in the last 2 years. On top of it, working his way back to Louisville of all places, did get some time in there, in finishing his career there at Louisville in 2 seasons. Only 4 sacks in total. Did start, a possible 23 games. Some nice pieces for him there, at least in a time, but at least the numbers didn't fully translate to what he could definitely be as a pass rusher as well as a D tackle for him. Just the numbers didn't really fully come through. So could be very well a guy in a year or 2 that could be very beneficial, kind of like a Jalen Redmond, just kind of sticks with the process, keeps working through, finds his way in the lineup, and hopefully doesn't look back in that situation. So definitely keep an eye out for Rene Conga. And then you get Jaden Williams out of Ole Miss at the tackle position. Again, we've known anything, the more you've got on the O-line with some depth pieces or maybe some big athletic guys, it can certainly pay off in a big way, whether it be on special teams with some punt blocking or at least some kickoff return blocking too. You might as well get some young guys in there that could definitely work their way into possibly as a second, third guy in the rotation for the offensive line and a guard tackle position. It definitely has some good slide quickness out of him and range in his pass sets, but unfortunately, a little bit below average in the upper body and play strength as well. A little bit of inconsistency with his overall movement and also fighting off rushers, just kind of allows the play to come to him instead of pushing the defender away on top of it. Again, another piece here that could definitely, use a little bit of work. But when you get down to day 2, day 3, especially in the back half of day 3, you're looking at a couple guys that could definitely be good in a year or 2, or maybe 2-3 years down the road, especially working off of rookie contracts. But those 3 guys there kind of really drew my interest as a whole, just to see that they could definitely be a benefit here for the Vikings if they decide to go that route with the pieces that they do have.
definitely a couple guys to keep your eye on for sure. I mean, the main thing is that, you know, if you can develop them, if you get the right coaching and whatnot, the Vikings, I believe, have that. And I think with what you have with those guys, Voldy, I'm keeping my eyes on them because you never know. I mean, we've made these predictions before, and, you know, I think one of us has at least got one right or something, but we're going for it. We're trying to get some day 2, day 3 picks on the board for us. So, I'll go with mine here. My first one, I don't know if you've been on the socials medias a lot with this young man, but this young man is from the great state of Minnesota, yes. And he is a running back by the name of Emmett Johnson. Yes, Emmett Johnson. He's been making the rounds here in Minnesota. He has a lot of guys that are or a lot of teams that have kept eyes on him. And if you're looking at the Minnesota Vikings, you're looking at Aaron Jones, you're looking at Jordan Mason. Now, not to say that both of those guys, we love both those guys, and I think they've done a great job. But we all know Jonesy's getting a little older. Jordan Mason has the expiring contract coming up after the season. But why not add a guy that can develop under those guys and or be a 3-back system, which is very, very possible at this point too. I think if you have Emmett Johnson in that backfield with KOC's offense, I think he could thrive. He probably, and what they're saying right now, Voldy and Zoners, is that he's probably a round 4 projection. I would agree with that, but I want to make it known too that this guy is good. He has been very good this past year. He was second team AP All-American, Big Ten Conference Running Back of the Year, first team All-Big Ten. Led the FBS with 151 all-purpose yards per game, ranking 4th with over 1,451 rushing yards, 251 carries, 5.8 yards per carry, led the team in rushing touchdowns with 12. Started all 12 games, 46 catches, 370 yards, and 3 tutties. So, Emmett Johnson, I think, is somebody the Vikings should draft for sure. The Vikings have discussed possibility of maybe drafting him. Now, he has said that he is going to make teams regret not taking him. I hope the Vikings aren't one of those teams because I think this kid has the ability to be a really good player for his hometown team. Emmett Johnson, I think the Vikings really need to take a look at. If they do trade Grenard and they accumulate more picks, there's more reason for the Vikings to go and get him. Now, I think if the Vikings have the opportunity and if there's a team that might move up and take him, I think the Vikings might move up and get Emmett Johnson. I think that's somebody you have to really keep a close eye on. I hope that's the case here with Emmett Johnson. A couple things. Able to make downhill cuts at top speed. That is big. You want that with your running backs. Hot tempo prevents 2-gappers from shedding blocks on time to tackle. He's shifty. The weaknesses, I think, I really don't have a problem with, to be quite honest. They say he's tunnel vision at times, lacks creativity to set his track. Okay. I mean, who came up with that weakness? Segmented runner, lacking rhythm and flow. I mean, seriously, come on, guys. But I think Emmett Johnson is a guy that the Vikings definitely need to target. Now, let's look at another position of need, and that, I believe, is center. Look, Blake Brandel, I think, is serviceable. I think he's filled in nicely when the Vikings have needed him to. But that's not his first position. And not saying that, he can't thrive as a center. But if you want to look at the weak point of the offensive line, that's it. So I was kind of digging for this one, but I keep hearing all this talk about a center from Kansas State, and he goes by the name of Sam Hecht. Sam Hecht is projected to go in. Let's see. I thought I just had it. 3-4. So, the Vikings could take Hecht, and then they take Emmett Johnson. So we're all set. Let's go. I think this guy is someone the Vikings have needed for a long, long time. We miss the days of Matt Burke being center. We miss the days of John Sullivan, to an extent, for the time being, who is very good as well. But the Vikings haven't had a really good center in a long time. Bradbury, he was serviceable. I just didn't think he fit what we wanted to do. But I think this guy has got it. This guy is 6'4", 303 pounds, which is what you want from a center, especially in this league. He played all his years at Kansas State. He played in all 13 games as a reserve and on special teams in 2023, 2024. He was second team all Big 12 conference, started all 13 games at center, and then he fought and received a scholarship with the Wildcats. So shouts out to him on that. And then in 2025, first team all Big 12, started all 12 games at center. Listen, this is what you want from your offensive line. And I think if you add Hecht to this, it's only going to get better. And if you start with Brandel from day one, that's fine, because if he gets hurt and then Hecht gets in there and he's got really good rapport with Kyler Murray and or JJ McCarthy, boom, we're set. So impressive blend of athleticism, agility, and core strength, gets into run fits with proper footwork and body control. That's what you want to have. The big issue that they've seen, there are a couple weaknesses. Doesn't have much knockback pop into initial contact. I think that can be coached up, or maybe hit the weight room even more. I don't know. He has some trouble protecting his edges in pass protection, which can be a problem, especially when you get stunts and blitzes coming in with linebackers too. But again, this is why you develop. So I think I want the Vikings to look at Sam Hecht as a potential option at center. If you want to say, look, Blake Brandel, you'll probably start off at center, but I think this kid could, develop into a really good player. So Sam Hecht out of Kansas State. All right, my last one here is, in the event the Vikings decide, maybe we can find a safety in the later rounds. The Vikings have had some success. They've gotten Joshua Metellus. I think he was either fifth or sixth round. I can't remember. I think it was
fifth round.
Fifth round, thank you. And I think you can find some good guys that you can develop. And there's a guy by the name of Kamari Ramsey out of USC that I think has some potential. Now, is he the perfect prospect? I wouldn't say that. But I do like the way that he goes about things. And he was very good for the Trojans. He wasn't all there 4 years. He was with UCLA, then went to USC. So he knows the Cali. He knows Cali pretty well. So, and he played well. He did miss some games due to injury, but one of those injuries last year, Voldy, was food poisoning. And trust me, I've had that before, and it is terrible. It is disgusting.
Not fun.
It's not fun.
Not fun.
Not fun at all. So, if that's the worst of it, then, it is what it is. But he, 2024, 60 tackles, 5 tackles, TFLs, 2 sacks, and an interception. Last year, honorable mention All Big Ten, started 9 games, 27 tackles, 1.5 tackles per loss, 2 pass breakups. So those numbers don't really stand out to a lot of people, but again, this is why you can develop guys into some good players, and that's kind of what the Vikings have done with Joshua Metellus. Speaking of Joshua Metellus, versatility to play multiple safety positions. Who does that sound like? Joshua will tell us. Anticipates route breaks and readies feet to drive. If you have good footwork, that will help you in the NFL. I swear to God. I mean, if you're DB and you're good with footwork, you're good. He competes through catch point and challenges the receiver's hands. That's what you want to have with your guy there. And back pedal is upright and tight. Or back pedal is upright and tight, which is not what you want. But that can be coached. Savvy route runners manipulate him out of position.
Easy change.
That's going to take some time to develop as well. So, Kamari Ramsey, I think if the Vikings were to say, you know what, we got to add some more, we got to add some more guys because we have more needs in specific positions. And if the Vikings are like, well, if Harry's coming back, maybe we can develop this guy, Kamari Ramsey. So, a couple guys to keep in mind for day 2 and day 3. Zoners, let us know if you have any names as well. Throw it in the chat. We're happy to bring it up as well for that. So, with that being said, those are our 3. Voldy, it is time for one of our favorite things of our draft special, and that is bold predictions. Now, I've gone from the Vikings trading up to get Drake May. That didn't pan out. Could have happened? Yeah, it could have. It almost did. But it didn't. And I said the same thing, C.J. Stroud going up there, and just didn't pan out like we thought. But the one thing that I think that I'm going to do this year, I'm going to be very, very plain this year, I will say. I'm going to make this easy for everybody and just go, we're going to go Tiedemann. That is the easiest answer I can really give out of all of this. Because the amount of people that have talked about how good he is and how similar he is to Harrison Smith, he might be a little different in some aspects, but you need that type of player on your team. And you can develop, you have the right mentors, you have a Josh Metellus with you, you have those veteran D-backs with you to help you succeed. And it didn't take very long for Harrison Smith to be a star on the Vikings, to say the least, too. So I think he fits the mold of what a Minnesota Vikings safety should be, and I think this is the smart move to go with Dylan Tiedemann. So I'm making it really simple this year. That's my bold prediction. I think Tiedemann's going to be the guy. I'm not going to go and say they're trading up. No. I'm doing it differently this year. We're doing it differently this year, Voldy. So that's my bold prediction. And Zoners, before I get to you, Voldy, Zoners, if you have bold predictions, throw it in the chat. Throw it in wherever. If you just want to message us too, go right ahead. So, Voldy, what is your bold prediction?
I mean, there really isn't. This is one of those drafts where coming into it after the first overall pick, it's really wide open and just all over the place that I feel like that there really isn't a whole lot of certainty beyond pick number 1 of this guy's going to go here, then this guy's going to go there, and then, well, maybe this guy will go here if this team decides to stay where they are or they decide to move up in the draft. Like, I don't really foresee the Vikings going out and making a big splash when it comes to where they are in the draft. I think 18 is probably a good enough spot of where they are right now to say, especially interim GM Brzezinski, a guy that definitely would like to keep his job right now and just get a guy that they know is going to be very plug and play right now. I mean, I hate to say and go the same with you on Thieneman, but beyond that, I mean, there just really isn't a whole lot to go on beyond that. If I had to do something different, I would say best available defensive back at that point at number 18. If it's not Thieneman, I would say best available defensive back at number 18 for the Vikings. I mean, that's really my only bold prediction. I don't have a whole lot to change beyond that because honestly, it's not so much that this is an underwhelming draft. It's just that the cards are going to fall where they are, and it's very much a stick and pick kind of draft here for the Vikings, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, all signs are pointing they're staying at 18. But the one thing that could change that, and I hope that's not the case, unless the Eagles say, screw it, we're just going to give them a bunch of picks to get him, that is Jonathan Grenard. And if they make that change, and if they trade up, I think the biggest one that I'd keep an eye on, and this is way far-fetched, this is a thing that I've talked about before that, I just feel like it's lessened all these months that it's gone on. But Jeremiah Love, if the Vikings were to trade up and get Jeremiah Love, which I doubt they would do at this point, because look, there's many teams that like this kid, and he would fit like a glove here in Minnesota, but it just doesn't seem like they would do it. If they pull that off, Rob Brzezinski should be the GM of the Minnesota Vikings. He should be the GM if he wants it, if they pull that off. So a lot of things to keep in mind in regards to that. So, that's kind of our bold predictions. Not super bold, but you know what? That's the cards we've been dealt, like you said. So,
exactly. Yep.
A lot to be excited about for tomorrow. So we're looking forward to watching the draft tomorrow. And zoners, feel free to put in your picks as well to win what? Oh, yeah, those MinneZona hats. Yeah, with Vikings colors. We got that one or that one. You pick. You win, you pick. So we will get that towards you. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, sir. So we got those ready for you. Go to our social media pages and fill out to win one of those bad boys. So make sure you get that done. But that's going to conclude our 2026 NFL Draft preview. We will keep in touch with you tomorrow, obviously, with everything that's been going on, because it's not only NFL Draft. Oh, by the way, the Minnesota Timberwolves are playing tomorrow. Oh, by the way, the Wild are about to play in 30 minutes. So we have got a lot
allegedly.
of
We'll see here.
Yeah.
We'll see here. With the
they'll
game
probably
in front
drop
of
the
them.
puck at what, 8:50? 8:50?
Yeah, it'll probably be about 9:45 Central. Let's be honest.
Yeah, probably. I drives me nuts.
Sometime before midnight, the first period will come to an end.
That's right. That's right. And ESPN, if you're watching on ESPN, they won't get to it till like 9:15 and be like, we're back
don't worry.
to it.
It's on TNT, baby. HBO Max.
Oh,
It
good.
might start
Thank
on
God.
HBO Max to start. So
Thank God. So anyway, I think it's a late tater tot hot take, but let's get it going with some tater tot hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
It's hot, it's fresh, it's right out of the oven. We got a game to play tonight. Like we said, it's going to be later, probably about midnight and whatnot. You guys know the deal. You guys understand what we're talking about. All Minnesotans do at this point. The Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars, Game 3. The Stars tied it up this past weekend. Unfortunately, the Wild, good for the Wild on Game 1. They dominated the Dallas Stars, Woldy. They absolutely obliterated them 6-1 in their home arena. And they showed like, hey, this team ain't the same team that's been going in the first round and losing a bunch. No, this team looks a lot different. It looks a lot different, and that's what we want to see. Unfortunately, Game 2, Dallas came back. They played well. They took advantage of some situations. A fluke goal to start off the first, their first goal, which I thought was insane, bouncing off the boards, and then all of a sudden it just sneaks in back of the pad into the net, which is just plagued us from the start. But the Wild were very competitive in this game. It's not like they faded away or anything. Brock Faber was fantastic, scoring a couple goals as well in that game. And it got chippy. I mean, these teams don't like each other. They play each other a lot. They don't like each other one damn bit. So We knew this series was going to go 6 or 7 games. No, I'm not doing that whole trend thing with the 6 and 7, but it's true. 6 games, 7 games. I will not. And this is probably what it's going to come down to. And I feel like this game tonight will be telling. And I think this is a big game for the Wild. If they win this game, this is going to be a fight till the end. We will stand and defend the whole thing. That whole song. The Minnesota Wild. But we're talking about game 3. Voldy, what are your thoughts on the series so far? What are you looking at tonight for the Minnesota Wild to hopefully get a victory here? What do you got?
No, the big difference is game 1 to game 2. Obviously, the Wild capitalizing on the power play, scoring 3 of their 6 goals on the power play. And if you're a team that's rolling on special teams early on in the postseason, that's great to see, especially given the fact that those penalties and power plays are going to be fewer as the season comes along here, especially in the playoffs too. But really rebounding off of that, Dallas did just about everything that they could in that game number 2 to rebound as well, because obviously falling 6-1, you take a punch right in the mouth there on your home ice, and then you rebound with a nice 4-2 win at home. You stay away. You know, if you do get in penalty, get into penalty trouble, you kill off penalties. You try to create something in front of the net there with some scoring plays, and then just ultimately getting confidence back in their goaltender, Minnesota native Jake Ottinger as well, who has shown his relative struggles at times in the postseason, but yet somehow finds a way to rebound off of it. And just, from game 1 to game 2, a completely different goaltender in that matter. In the Wild at that point, it really seemed that they tried to rest on their laurels in game number 2, as opposed to really take the attack right towards the Dallas Stars like they did in game 1. They didn't just, just kind of phone it in game 1. It's like, okay, we're up to, here. No, they kept attacking. They brought the puck in. They worked the forecheck. Really were trying to set the physical tone as well. But then really responding that game too. It was a complete, script flipped as well. Whichever team set the tone with the special teams, whether it be scoring on the power play, killing off penalties, and also working the physicality in the game, is ultimately going to win the game. And that's what happened in game 1 and game 2. The Wild did that in game 1. The Stars did that in game 2. And that's where we're at here with this series tied at 1-1. Another thing you have to be wary of as well, Matt Duchene. Guy has been a Wild killer ever since he came to the league with the Avalanche. Played his time, of course, in Dallas, then went to Nashville. Now he's back in Dallas yet again. He's always been a thorn in the Wild side. The guy's 107 years old in hockey years as well, but yet still finding a way. Got a power play goal in that second period in game number 2, and of course, never really looked back at that point. That's one thing you have to look on too, especially with a lot of these guys that have been around and played the Wild for a number of years. And this is definitely going to be very, very interesting game number 3 here. Whichever team comes out with the win in game number 3, I feel like will be a nice momentum shift going into game number 4. Obviously being on home ice as well. But then there's a little bit of a break. Of course, you play Wednesday. They don't play again, I believe, until Saturday at that point. So there's going to be a few days off there in between. So a time to rest up and maybe get a couple of bodies back, at least some much needed rest for some of these older players too.
Yeah, very much so. And I just had to switch hats just because we're talking Wild.
Nice.
So
nice.
I just wanted to.
It's on a roll here in the second half, folks.
Yeah.
Watch out.
So, I watched a good chunk of game 2. I watched more of game 1. And game 1, I saw a team that was dominating, and they dominated that team. Look, if you have guys like Tarasenko, who I think has been an absolute steal. People were thinking like, he'll be all right. No, he's good, man. Tarasenko was a Wild killer for a long time. I'm glad he's on our side now. But this team is looking like a team that is finally can get past this first round. If they were playing, let's just say they're playing the Golden Knights, or if they were playing the Mammoth, for that matter, too, I think the Wild could probably beat them in 5. It don't matter. Wild in 5. Mm-hmm. But in this situation, the Stars are that damn good. I think if you're able to win this game 3, it sets you up perfectly for what is probably going to turn into a 6-7 game series. Now, I would be very cautious as to how you go about this game 3. You can't play that emotional because they played with a lot of emotions. Foligno had a couple takedowns of some guys, rightfully so, because again, it was chippy. I mean, these guys don't like each other. It's that simple. But we finally are seeing some grit that we didn't see in previous playoffs, and they have shown it, and they have passed it with flying colors, to say the least. I think you have to, keep an eye on. I haven't heard anything, but it sounds like Zuccarello was dealing with a concussion. He didn't play game 2. Mm-hmm. Is he playing tonight? Do we know? Do we have any word from our guy Michael Russo or any NHL insider? I don't know, but it remains to be seen. I mean, if they're able to get him back, it'll help Kaprizov. Now, I know people were kind of concerned about how he played in Game 2, but again, it's Kirill Kaprizov. They are going to try and cause trouble for him, and they did. I mean, rightfully so. They had to get really, the Stars had to get really aggressive because they know how important he is to the success of the Minnesota Wild. So I think in Game 3 tonight, we will have a strong game from Kirill Kaprizov. Dollar bill Kirill, baby, you know it. So I think the main thing is getting him going. Boldy had a great game in Game 2. Mm-hmm. He just got robbed a couple times. Ottinger played well. I got to give him some credit. Ottinger played really well. I got to give credit where credit's due there. Boldy had a lot of good chances, just couldn't get it going. But Wallstead, I think, has been great. The Great Wall of St. Paul has been playing well. He had a couple of goals that were tough. The fluke one in Game 2 to start things off, I don't put that on him necessarily. I just think it was a bad bounce. But I think they're good. In that realm, I think they need to be better a little defensively. A lot of guys getting in the slot and whatnot. They got to defend a little bit better. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. And that's why tonight I am taking the Minnesota Wild to win a game 3. Yes, sir. Wow. I think they win Game 3. I think Game 4 is going to be a tough one as well. But if they can win both games here in Minnesota, it's looking like a pretty good chance they might win the series. So I think the Minnesota Wild win tonight. So I'll go with that. It's going to be a fun series to watch for these next few days. And, yeah, like you said, next game is Saturday, like you said. So we'll keep in tune with that. But, Voldy, do you have the Minnesota Wild winning tonight? What do you got?
3-1 final score. I feel like the Wild will definitely get that benefit of having that home ice advantage too. Of course, kind of resetting things from Game 2. Having that advantage at the home side is definitely what they need on top of everything too. And I'm just trying to get a quick check here to see. Looks like right now, day to day with, of course, Zuccarello. Just haven't quite seen if the lineup is set as of yet here. For that, but they have him listed as day-to-day with, of course, Yakov Trenin as well, who got absolutely depleted by Blackwell, I believe it was as well. Blackwell better have his head on a swivel tonight.
I said
both
the same
Foligno
thing.
boys are, they are going to be, obviously going to be looking to set the tone there offensively and physically on top of it too. I think getting that extra juice from the home crowd. I was looking to see as well who's going to be doing Let's Play Hockey tonight. I haven't yet seen who's going to be doing that leading into tonight. I mean, I guess we're going to find out here in probably 15, 20 minutes or so. But, on top of it all, I think, 3-1 final score here for the Wild over the Stars in game number 3.
Voldy, I know that this is kind of an old story, but I do have breaking news. There are more photos of Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini, apparently.
Juicy.
And they apparently, they mentioned in the story that they were eating breakfast together. There's a couple photos. They're not great. You can't really see that well in these photos, but it just shows, hey, there wasn't anybody around. There wasn't anybody around.
Let me be honest. Mike Vrabel could have done worse. I'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. But there's still some of them in the hot tub, stuff like that. Not sure what's going on there, but it really isn't anything that's like absolutely like, oh, this is
shattering.
But I figured I would bring that up.
All right.
There were some photos that were released. More photos that were released. We won't get into that whole thing. We talked about it, but just want to throw that our way. So, Wild, tonight, they get the win, Game 3. So, another team that is played well in Game 2. Not so much Game 1. The Nuggets really took it to them. Wouldn't say that they got killed by any means, but they pretty much dominated the game. The Minnesota Timberwolves did not start off good against the Nuggets in Game 2. They were down like 43-25 at one point. They were down 19 points and whatnot. And I was thinking to myself, this doesn't look good at all. Ant is kind of hobbling a little bit. Guys aren't playing good defense and whatnot. But after that first quarter, they took off. They absolutely clamped down. They played really good defense. Ant was hitting a lot of good shots. Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert was awesome against Nikola Jokic as well. The Wolves obviously won 119-114, and congratulations to Rudy Gobert too, winning the. On the same day he finished fourth in the. I thought he won it. What the hell? He played really well.
Wemby did.
Yeah,
unanimous.
That's right. Yeah,
Wemby.
Unanimous, which is not shocking.
That's why Rudy was playing so well. He was pissed off.
He was pissed off. That's what I want. A pissed off Rudy.
He finished fourth in Defensive Player of the Year.
I know.
Ridiculous.
Well, that's because everybody hates Rudy Gobert for some odd reason, but it is what it is. But with that being said, Voldy, the Timberwolves played well. We'll discuss the big news after the game, but what are your thoughts on the Wolves evening up the series? And does this kind of say like, hey, that switch finally is kind of turned on here, and they're gonna prove some people wrong? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, game number 1 there, I definitely saw that maybe there were some nerves, a little bit of jitters there from this team. Maybe not so much nerves of just a little bit trying to do a little bit too much out of the Timberwolves from game number 1 going into game 2. It was just like, hey, let's go back to basics. Let's just go out there and do what we do best. Of course, with Rudy, it was getting in the face of Jokic, and obviously him finishing 1 for 8 shooting. His worst performance in his playoff career against a single defender. That was great to see too, especially after Rudy probably had a little bit of extra motivation given the fact that he only finished he finished 4th in Defensive Player of the Year in those votes as well. But really so much a little bit better as the game went along there. Of course, Julius Randle poured in 24 points, DiVincenzo as well, 16 on top of that, including a late 3 there that really helped finish things out there on top of it. But of course, with Ant putting in 40 minutes, scoring 30 points, you don't want to see that all the time, but if sometimes Superman's got to put on the cape, he's going to go out there and he is going to wreak havoc. And of course, with that knee still bugging him, and of course having to sit out a few different times in that second half, really gutted things out there. Just hope that it doesn't continue to get worse as the as the series moves along there. But a really nice rebound, pun intended there, for the Timberwolves to get from game number 1 into game 2.
Well, I think the main thing for this team is that they need to keep doing this game in and game out. And yes, I switched the hat again to the Wolves because
Yeah, you
they
did.
play tomorrow. I just switch it,
He
switch and
understood
switch
the
it.
assignment.
Yep. So this team, when they turn it on, they can beat anybody, and I do mean anybody. And I think it's the will, it's the drive that they need to have. After that first quarter, I was thinking to myself, if they lose this game, I don't know how they turn it back on when they get back to Target Center. Well, they sure did, and they were awesome. Everybody was great. Everybody played great. Dante DiVincenzo was all over the place. Not only defensively, but offensively. He hit an awesome three to really put the Wolves up higher, and then he got a steal, took it all the way, dunked it to ice the game, which is what you want. The only issue that I looked at from that game is that, Jokic, yeah, he had a bad game because Rudy played so well, but the role players like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Jamal Murray had some good games. I am so sick and tired of watching Jamal Murray put up a three and then falling down immediately. He's not even touched, to be quite honest with you. And he just falls down. He's the biggest crybaby / flopper, probably right next to SGA. But again, you got to play through that. You can't let the refs dictate that. I know Finch has said some things, and I know Adelman said some things. But listen, you have to move past that. You have to play with some urgency and not let the refs dictate this game. So I think there's a lot of that to be factored in. Ant looked a lot better. I just think that, the knee's probably going to bother him for a little bit now. But when he turns it on and when they need, like you said, Superman puts on that cape, we need Ant to deliver. So I think this game tomorrow is going to set the tone for the rest of the series. And that being whoever wins, I think probably will have the edge in winning this series. So let's get to the task at hand here, because I'm one of those guys, Voldy, that if you're talking crap to another team, you better back it up. And to be quite honest, our guy, Jaden McDaniels, did kind of back that up. He said some things after this win that are very interesting. And I love this, by the way. And a lot of other people do too, which I like it as well. He was asked about, how do you keep getting, baskets in the paint and, getting by these guys? Right. He goes, what's your philosophy? Go at Jokic, go at Jamal, all the bad defenders, Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, the whole team. Just go at them. They're all bad defenders. This is a rivalry. This is what we want. Yes.
Love it.
But I'm a little scared because when you say things like that, that awakens something, and I hope that's not the case. They better be ready for tomorrow because
hopefully not.
You have to, if you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk, and hopefully the Wolves can do that, because when you say that, those are tatted to you. So make sure that you're ready for whatever they throw at you in Game 3. So what are your thoughts, Voldy, on the comments that Jaden McDaniels made after the game?
I mean, it certainly will definitely ruffle a few feathers for sure. Of course, getting the win on the road, that's always huge, especially in the playoffs. Of course, especially with the matchup and this, quote unquote rivalry that has been building over the last few seasons. On top of it, I like to see it, but let's just hope Jaden McDaniels can certainly back it up. And of course, this was a team. Of course, there's been a few pieces added and subtracted over the last few years. I mean, not too far removed from the Nuggets winning an NBA title too, even though that was a far different looking team. Still, a lot of the core still on that same team as well with the Nuggets. But, obviously their team has guys there that can certainly, take over a game if they need to. But, talking from the defensive side of things, if anyone's going to say anything, it's definitely, with Jaden McDaniels for sure. I have no problem with the comments. So let's just hope that we can back it up here for game 3.
The thing is I feel like when they do this, they do back that up. And I do trust them. I'm hesitant because I've seen how this plays out sometimes, and it doesn't play out the way you think. But they apparently Cameron Johnson, who McDaniel said too was a bad defender, they just been saying a lot all season, all series. Let them talk. Let them get everything they want off their chest. Well.
Right.
How about you rise to the occasion? That's the big question. Can you rise to the occasion? And that's the Denver Nuggets. So the Wolves better be ready to roll. That's the main thing. So Voldy, I will say though, I know a little bit of Homer-esque, but look, I think this team has kind of woken up a little bit and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
I think they're winning Game 3. So I won't give you a score, but I think they win Game 3. So. Voldy, what do you got?
Yeah, I got a game 3 win as well for the Timberwolves. Of course, coming back to Target Center, get that momentum. Of course, that new added juice on top of it. KG at the end of the regular season making his way back home. I think that'll definitely reinvigorate this franchise a little bit more and definitely bring that, again, added oomph there of that home court advantage. I think the Target Center is definitely going to be rocking for sure. Cannot wait to see it. And yes, a Timberwolves win in game 3.
Back up your trash talk. That's all I got to say. Just get it done. Get it done. Play some really good defense. Do what you've been doing against this team. That's all. You might have to change up some stuff, but hey, that's why you adjust in the playoffs. So they know what it takes. They've been down this road before. So Go Wolves, go Wild. Wild will be starting up here pretty soon too. So. All right, a little shortened version of ARA this time around. We have the Bengals landing Dexter Lawrence, which is a big thing to talk about, especially with the NFL draft. Mike Tomlin is going to join NBC for this upcoming season. We'll discuss that as well. And Ovi, is he going to go another season? He's going to go 2 seasons. Is he just going to retire? We don't know. So we will discuss that. So let's get it going. What's up? Absurd or approved?
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, earlier this week in the world of the NFL, a little bit of movement at the top of the NFL draft board did come to play, but beneficial for both sides as the New York Giants traded away defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence II to the Cincinnati Bengals for the number 10 pick in this week's draft. And, of course, some other pieces going along with it, but on top of the trade, Lawrence was also given a 1-year, $28 million extension to a defensive line and defensive unit that could certainly need all the help that they could get after a lackluster back half of a couple of seasons. Of course, the Bengals getting much needed help on the defensive line that has been, sorry to say, the absolute least. But also on the other side, the New York Giants also get a top 10 pick, of course, with the new regime under John Harbaugh and, of course, the franchise in the Big Blue of New York. Now, of course, with the needed help that the Bengals have needed over the last couple of seasons, is it absurd or approved that the Bengals won this trade by adding Dexter Lawrence to their defense?
Well, they desperately needed something. Look, that defense last year was horrendous. They could have won a couple of those games, and maybe if they were a little competent on defense, they would have done so. Mm-hmm. They had to do something. This situation with Joe Burrow is weird, and it's quite it's not what you would think would be a good relationship between, again, a team that, has given him everything that he's wanted, but it seems like he's off base with whoever. I don't know who would that be. Whether it's the owner, whether it's GM, whether it's Zach Taylor, I don't know.
Right.
But this situation for Dexter Lawrence, he wanted to get paid. He got that extension. And this is the time for them to really get going on defense. And now that they've added a big addition like him, it will help them a little bit. But they have to build through this draft. Again, let's not forget, it's not just one piece that you need to add. It's multiple pieces. You have to add some more talent to this defense. I know they did some things in free agency that have helped them a little bit, but you're going to need more. And you just traded some picks away, too. So that's another thing to factor in as well. I mean, the defense that they had last year was abysmal. It was abysmal. So the hope is that Dexter Lawrence can provide some pass rush as well as obviously in the run game as well. The guy's a beast. I mean, he's that damn good. And now that he's with the Bengals, it's making their defense a little bit better. Not saying that it's going to do lengths and bounds or anything like that, but it's going to help nonetheless. But they need more. They need a lot more, which is crazy in itself. Did the Bengals win this trade? I guess that depends. It depends on how they play. If they play bad again on defense, and but if he's good, that's good for them. But they gave up a lot to get him, so it remains to be seen. I'm going to say absurd. I think the 1 year extension is fine, whatever. But are you going to sign him long term? I don't know. After this extension. So I would say absurd because there's a lot more you need. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Well, with this trade now, the Giants have the number 5 and number 10 picks, so they could definitely make a killing in this draft just off the first round tomorrow night. With this, of course, no surprise in a draft. Of course, a guy that's been going in the draft with John Harbaugh, and of course knows how to build a team with that number 5 and number 10 pick. Do they go both defense? They go maybe get maybe a younger lineman and a defensive player on top of it to go along with another young defensive core that they've got in New York too. Dexter Lawrence is only 28, 3 more years of contractual control for the Bengals on top of it. I mean, I would say this is more of a win-win situation because the D-line for the Bengals has been hurting ever since Geno Atkins retired, I believe 4 or 5 years ago, somewhere along that time frame there. And of course, the overall presence of the Bengals defensively hasn't been the same since that Super Bowl run that they had 5+ years ago now. And of course, with Joe Burrow taking hits all the time, and of course him losing, of course, maybe just a little bit of that availability for him, of course, now with the injuries that have started to stack up and it's starting to weigh on him a little bit more. Would I say the Bengals won this trade by adding Dexter Lawrence? I would say I think it's absurd right now. I think this is pretty much a win-win situation. The Giants get more draft capital that they're going to need for their team, while the Bengals also get a much better defensive player than they've had over the last few seasons. Of course, Trey Hendrickson was, of course, the main guy that they had on their D-line, but he had a lot of issues off the field, of course, with that whole contract situation, but now he finally got his money somewhere else, and now it's time to turn the corner here. I think overall this is a split, and I think it's absurd. I don't think either team really won nor lost this trade overall.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty spot on, and this kind of it's a situation to where they have to think about how they're going to go about this. Because if their defense is bad again, I don't think Burrow is going to be too happy. And I'm not saying he's going to leave or anything, but
right.
There's been some signs that he ain't happy right now. So not good. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, sticking in the world of the NFL, of course, after stepping down after 2 decades in the NFL as head coach, Mike Tomlin will be heading his way into the studio. Of course, man known for many interesting quotes and sound bites, will be taking his talents to NBC and as being a studio analyst for the Football Night in America, the, of course, Sunday night pregame show for NBC's coverage of the NFL. And it'll be quite interesting to see how that all fits. I believe might be taking over for Jason Garrett or something along those lines. Not quite sure who's stepping in, who's stepping out. Maybe it's Tony Dungy. Either way, Mike Tomlin will be joining that crew in the Sunday night squad there for the pregame show. Of course, it's no secret whatsoever. Of course, after the much success that he had as a coach on the sideline, be interesting to see how that translates to the lifestyle that, of course, the way it works there as an in-studio analyst. Is it absurd or approved? Mike Tomlin will thrive as an analyst after staying, of course, taking the year from being an NFL coach. Will be a long-term situation being, of course, an analyst for for the NFL.
Well, I think he would be very good. Now, Mike Tomlin, when you look at him as a coach, he's kind of a guy that just doesn't take any shit, right? He's not a guy that you want to mess around with or like have any, get on his bad side, for instance. But he is a very smart and likable guy for sure. I think, players love him. I would say a lot of how he's coached in the past and how he approaches defense. I mean, he was the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, and he was fantastic. And I think he'd be very good as an analyst, maybe more for the defensive side. But again, I wouldn't say that he doesn't. I mean, he has to know offenses, right? If he's,
He does.
especially if he's been with head coach. He's had Ben Roethlisberger, who he's been with for that long as well. So, I think he will. It's got my stamp of approval that he'll be very good. The question is that who's going to be the one that screws up and pisses him off? Because I'm telling you, he is a scary dude when you piss him off. Like, I don't want to be around Mike Tomlin when he's mad because I'm just like, this dude's going to punch me in the face. Like, he's just going to do it. Like,
There's one guy and one guy only that will piss him off in studio, and I think you and I both know who it's going to be. Well, it might be two. One of them, Chris Sims. Chris Sims got a mouth on him. I mean, he definitely knows how to get under guys' skins. But they probably did cross paths, I think, maybe when Sims was in Tampa and Tomlin might have been D-backs coach or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might have been there around that time, but still, Chris Sims knows how to piss people off one way or another. So I wouldn't be surprised if quite possibly it is going to be Chris Sims to piss him off.
Well, and I think the second guy that you were going to reference to is Florio.
Yes, there we go.
The thing is that Mike Florio and I've had some some disagreements to say the least.
Yeah, we have
as well.
Yeah, you have.
But again, it's not like he's completely clueless. I'm not saying that, but I just think a lot of what he's reported, especially on our Minnesota Vikings, look, he puts emotion into a lot of things. And I feel like with the Minnesota Vikings, he is very down on them because he is just, he's been absolutely had traumatic PTSD from the 98 games and stuff like that. It's like, dude, you just need to do your job. You can't just, say Kirk's terrible, this guy's terrible, I've been hearing this about this. Dude, you have to let your reporting do the job, not your emotions. So that's just my thing. But anyway, we don't need to get into that. But yeah, I think Mike Tomlin will be very good. I just don't piss him off. Don't piss him off. So, Voldy, what do you got?
Yeah, I think this is definitely I mean, one of my favorite coaches outside, of course, Vikings and also the Patriots too. Just a guy you always listen to, you have a lot of respect for, just a guy that you definitely when he says something, you take it, you take it with not so much a grain of salt, but you definitely take it to heart for sure. And you definitely take it as serious as possible. And I think having him in, of course, breaking down film or maybe quite possibly, lending his voice to a lot of things, I think it's a win for him for sure. Will he thrive as an analyst? Absolutely. It's just going to be the adjustment, of course, not being on the sideline. I mean, obviously maybe taking a year off, but then after a full season, we'll be like, of course, I have more time at home with the family, get to see the kids a lot more. Do I want to go back to coaching? Man, I love it, but do I really love it now that I've got this nice, cushy job at NBC that I can still be a part of the game without having to worry about, everything leading up to a game day? I think it's an absolute stamp of approval. I think Tomlin will more than thrive as an analyst for NBC.
Throwing the stamp of approval on that. I agree as well. So, congrats to Mike Tomlin. But we'll probably see him on the sideline sooner rather than later. Mm-hmm. So, all right, last one, Voldy.
Well, after a disappointing finish to the end of the regular season for the Washington Capitals, the big question that does remain, will the 40-year-old captain Alex Ovechkin, the NHL's all-time leading scorer, will he return for his 22nd season? And that is what is looking like that's what we're currently sitting at with, of course, the 40-year-old captain in the front office for the Washington Capitals saying, are they going to be bringing him back for 26-27, that being the season for next year? But right now, as it has an opportunity to build off that legacy for Ovechkin as the NHL's all-time goal scorer, of course, with now over 900 career goals to his credit. It's a big situation right now. 40 years old, 40 right now as it currently is, but looking at quite possibly another season, maybe even 2 seasons for Ovechkin. The Capitals are very much saying that we are going to give him some time to get away for the season a little bit and think things through and talk to his family. We'll continue to support him in however his decision process plays out. We'll be able to have a plan with or without him. So the Capitals are more than ready to either have him back or ready to move on to the next chapter of the franchise. But if Ovechkin does come back, absurd or approved, would him reaching 1,000 career regular season goals, would that be possible? And now me and a friend of mine at work, we were talking about this. He needs 71 career goals in the regular season to make it to 1,000. Now, you break that down. He plays 2 more seasons. That's 35 goals in a regular season. Now, right, if we've seen anything out of Ovechkin, he can sneeze and score 35 goals. That wouldn't be the issue. It's just about, again, we'll talk about it more with my analysis, but if he does come back for the next season or 2, is it absurd or approved? Would Ovechkin reach 1,000 career goals in the regular season? Now, he does have 1,000 career goals in the postseason included, but regular season goals, is that possible for Ovi?
I would say so. Look, he's done. He's broken the record already with Gretzky and whatnot. Mm-hmm. This one, I think, is possible. Now, the thing is like you just said, it would have to be 2 seasons for sure. Mm-hmm. Unless he drinks from the fountain of youth this next year and just absolutely tears it up. Mm-hmm. Which honestly I wouldn't put it past him because he's Ovi for me. I
wouldn't either. Russian gas.
But I think. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to give it my stamp of approval right away here because, look, if he can do it at that ripe age of, what is it again? Tell me. How old is he? Do we know? Have any indication?
40.
40? Wow. Okay. Well, I still think that it's up for grabs. It's got my stamp of approval. I think he's going to stay a season or 2. I still think the team's fairly good. I don't know if they're not in the playoffs, are they, this year? Or
no, they got bounced, unfortunately, right at the end of the regular season.
Gotcha. So I think it's got my stamp of approval. I think if he comes back, I think it's possible. I think it's very possible at this point. And it doesn't seem like he would slow down. I mean, he would just ramp things up. So, yeah, stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you got?
The big thing out of Ovechkin has always been his health. Of course, this past season, he played all 82 games. He scored 32 goals as the, captain for the team. And of course, maybe not to the full satisfaction out of the whole season. Of course, not making the playoffs, not making another run in the Stanley Cup. But we've seen guys play well into their 40s at the NHL. Of course, Ovechkin is also a guy. He's just not, this pretty boy goal scorer. He's out there. He's throwing the body, even at his advanced age. Of course, he's had to dial things back a little bit. Still takes care of himself some way. Even in that year, the year previous, when he broke the goal scoring record, he broke his leg. He was out, 6 weeks or something like that, and came back and still broke the record. 35 goals over the next 2 seasons, 35 plus. Let's say 35, obviously 35 and 36 gets to 71, but if he scores 35 plus, he could very well do it. I mean, it's all about what the heart wants, and if he's still able to do it, skating and staying healthy too, I don't see why you don't do it. I think it's definitely got my stamp of approval. If Ovi comes back for 2 more seasons, he's getting 1,000 for sure.
Hell yeah!
That's what we want to hear. And Voldy, they're posting stuff. The Wild game hasn't started, by the way. Shocker! Wow! I wonder why that is.
I'm going to push it back. Push it back.
But we do have a Norm Sucks sign already at the Wild game, which is fantastic. We love that. Yes, Norm Green sucks. Always will as well.
Damn you.
So, damn him. So, yeah, hopefully Ovi stays, man. I think it would be really cool if he did. So, we'll see what happens. But without further ado, that's going to do it with ARA this week. The shortened version of ARA, since we had our Minnesota Vikings draft special, NFL draft special, and then Wild and Wolves on top of that as well. There's a lot going on. The Wild are about to start. They haven't started yet, of course, like we just said. So, great job with ARA this week, Voldy, as always. And Shield shoutouts. We got some Shield shoutouts to get to tonight, so I say we get it going with some Shield shouts.
Shield shoutouts.
Dramatic. Yes, there we go. Voldy, I think I got a good idea who you're shouting out tonight, but I'm just going to ask anyway. Voldy, who are you shouting out tonight?
I mean, it's been no secret here. This summer is going to be an unreal spring and summer after capturing another Granite City Fraser Cup championship. This will be my first as a full-fledged member of the organization as well. But not too many people can say as well that they had the Fraser Cup as a centerpiece at their wedding. Ding dong, this guy. And it was fun to have it back in 2017, but it's great to have it back in our possession in 2026. But again, a big shout out once again to Granite City Lumberjacks for another great season as well. Big shout out as well to Brian Lommel from Bitstream Digital Media. Of course, we were able to coordinate for the trophy to come into my possession, who celebrated a birthday as well. Brian Lommel turned 60 over the weekend as well, so big shout out to him as well. Happy belated birthday as well, head coach for the Granite City Lumberjacks, DJ Vold. He had his birthday yesterday on top of it, so a lot of birthdays recently, a lot of fun still happening. We got softball season starting up next week. We've got a lot more coming up with that too as well. But of course, being a champion, of course, Fraser Cup Championship, it's great to have it back where it rightfully belongs as well. For the 5th time franchise history, going into season number 20 coming up here for 2006-27, the 20th season of the Granite City Lumberjacks. That's going to do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Hell yeah!
Well said, well presented, Voldy. We love the Fraser Cup here on MinneZona Sports Live. Happy birthday to all those guys, too, by the way. And there's a birthday, a very special birthday that is coming up as well this weekend, which is being my brother-in-law, Nick Vandenplas. Yes.
Hell yeah.
His birthday is coming up. We're going to be meeting up and then watching round 2 of the NFL draft together as well. So we're looking forward to that. The MinneZona hat is on the Fraser Cup. Yeah, let's get it.
Ow! Why is this happening? There we go. Here they are. You guys can win these this week. Here we go.
Yeah, speaking of which, you guys got a chance to win those. Who are the Vikings taking at number 18? Please let us know. You can win
What
Minnesota
position?
Vikings hats, colored hats, Minnesota Viking colored hats. That one right there, and the other one, our secondary one, which is available as well. So get those in. It is on our social media page. Fill out the form, your name first, and then what position the Vikings
That was on me.
are going to pick in the draft. So get that done. Get it done. Great job, Shield. Shoutouts as always, Voldy. And guys, we got merch. We got plenty of merch. Look, we already mentioned those hats, but we got other hats as well if you're interested. We have the Gophers as well, colored hats. We have the I gotta reach the Timberwolves if you're like ready for the Wolves tomorrow. Look, this is the hat to get. I'm telling you, this is awesome hat as well. The Minnesota Wild one is one of my favorites too. I've really enjoyed wearing this one as well. So we got those. We've got the sweatpants. We've got the stickers. We've got plenty of stuff. If you'd like to get it, we'll Venmo us, all that stuff, and we'll get them to you. So let that be known. Without further ado, though, guys, we got to thank our people at National Fleet Graphic for the stickers. We got to thank W2 Performance, our guy, Will Rattel, www.w2performance.com. Yes, shout out to our guy, Will Rattel. Jacked as usual. He just knows he's the best. I mean, if you want to get jacked, talk to Will Rattel. And shout out to TLS Performance, another guy who is big into fitness. That is our guy, Troy Stoudemire Jr., former Gopher as well. Shout out to our guy. We love Troy Stoudemire Jr. And also make sure you check out Popcorn Bucket List with Nick Dahlhoff and Ryan Meyerberg, our guy, chilling as well over at Omni Entertainment. Popcorn Bucket List. They're on YouTube, Facebook, Insta, you know the deal. Make sure you check our guys out at Omni Entertainment. And that's going to do it for episode 281. We got to watch this game with the Wild and the Stars. Wolves play tomorrow, draft tomorrow. There is so much going on. I cannot wait for everything to transpire. Hopefully it's in wins. Hopefully the Vikings get a good couple prospects. Obviously it continues on through the weekend. And the Wolves get it done. The Wild get it done tonight. So we are looking forward to watching all of that. So we'll be back next week. Give our thoughts on the draft. Give our thoughts on where things are at with our playoff teams. So we'll see you next week. So without further ado, remember, folks, I gave you this.
Holla. Mwah.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.